Ooh. Let me share on Twitter. This is the second drive today. I just had a short live video before, but I didn't talk about investments. And of course, that's what I need to do for you guys. I know that's what you want. So let me share on X. Okay. So, welcome to the live show. We're gonna talk about investments. What comes down must go up. It's not really the right way to say it would be what goes up must come down, but that's actually a different way to look at it. It's a pessimistic approach, the saying, but you could also turn it around, as the intelligent people in this world do. They always turn things around to see if it holds truth. And well, if you turn it around and you say what goes down must go up, what comes down must go up, yeah, that's actually equally valid. It doesn't apply to everything, there are always exceptions, but that's the general rule, also known as reversion to the mean. And reversion to the mean is a very valuable concept to understand as an investor. Certainly applies today, I believe, to gold, silver, it's all-time highs, not only in fiat but also inflation adjusted. So likely it will go down if you're at equally high prices as the previous all-time highs of 1980 or 1910. Likely we're peaking out and it will go down this year, next year. This of course are very long-term cycles, but for crypto, it's unbelievable. If you look at it, I had a discussion with my brother, and I'm asking him, so do you think we're in a bear market? Because that seems to be the topic of the day in crypto, whether we're in a bear market or not. And he says, yeah, I mean, if you corrected 50%, how can you deny that? And I tell him, well, I mean, it happened before. I remember in 2013, I think was it? No, that's 2011. I entered in 2011 at $10, but in 2013, actually, no, that was end of 2011. And so early 2012, it went from $10 to like $200 or so. Early 2013, $250. Then it corrected to like $100 or $80. And that, like, I mean, I was convinced this is a bear market. That's in the middle of 2013. This is a bear market. I mean, how can you deny it? But I was talking with some other, well, guy from invested in crypto. He was a real Bitcoin maximalist at the time, but that was not an insult yet. In 2013, I mean, that was a reason. I mean, you had some people that were very hardcore believing that it can only go up and up. And so he told me, no, this will go up a lot more. And I'm telling to him, but I mean, it just went up from like 10x, from $10 to, actually it came from $2 a year before. It was $10 when I entered, but then it went to $250 and then it corrects to $100. I'm telling him, I mean, this is a bear market, and it very likely will take a couple of years before this thing takes off again. And well, I was wrong, because from there it just went up and up and up again, from $80 back to the all-time high of 250 and up to $1,000 even a couple months later. And so we had another bubble, basically. We had two bubbles in 2013, but if you look back at the chart, that was not two bubbles, it was one bubble. Actually, we were still in a bull market in 2013, in the middle of 2013, even though we had a strong correction in the middle of it. And that was not the last time. It happened again in 2017. I also remember that was a difficult summer. I mean, Bitcoin corrected strong, but altcoins corrected even stronger. And but it took off again in the middle of 2017. A new all-time high for both Bitcoin as well as altcoins. I mean, it's not the first time that we would have a strong correction, and then actually that's not the end of the bull market. Actually, it continues, and that's really what I believe to be the most likely. But I mean, what's true about the argument of a bear market is that we're in serious undervaluation today. For the whole crypto market, we're in serious undervaluation. So including Bitcoin. You see that clearly on the logarithmic chart. And I mean, that was never the case before. Before, in the middle of 2017 or in the middle of 2013, we were not in serious undervaluation. We had, right before we went into overvaluation and serious overvaluation, then we corrected strong, we went to fair valuation or maybe a little bit below, and then up we had another boom into serious overvaluation. But today what happened is that this first part of the bull market never went into serious overvaluation. It just went to fair valuation, and that means that for Bitcoin you went just a little bit higher than the previous all-time high from a couple years ago. And for altcoins, actually, you didn't even go into a new all-time high yet. And that was just fair valuation. If you look at the Trello chart for crypto, for Bitcoin, for Ethereum went a little bit above it. But basically around fair valuation. And many altcoins didn't even reach that. That was the first part of this bull market. And then we corrected strong now, cut by 2. From 4 trillion, 4.5 trillion to now 2 trillion, 2.5 trillion, and we're back into serious undervaluation. And that's new. Like, that's where you can say, like, yeah, actually, I mean, that's really an argument that we're in a bear market, because never before have we been in such a serious undervaluation in the middle of a bull market. That's the first time. I will admit that. But I don't think that's an argument in favor of that we're in a bear market, because I mean, it's, you can make the case that crypto has failed in really innovating enough and having enough adoption to continue its past growth trend. It really failed to get enough adoption for that. So seeing on the logarithmic chart that growth is decelerating faster than past growth, which suggests that's possible, and we might be there, and that means that we might actually go deeper undervaluation. But at the same time, it doesn't take away the typical trend of cryptocurrency. And then I'm not talking about the 4-year cycle, because there, I mean, if you believe that's the cycle, then of course this is the end of the cycle, the end of the bull market, and actually it can take a few more time before we reach the bottom. But I don't believe in that. The 4-year cycle, I don't believe in that. But I admit that you can make a strong case for that too. But I believe more that it's normal that cycles will take longer over time as the market cap goes up. And so it's still actually probable that we're still in a bull market, albeit valuations take slower to go up, because overall crypto has not done as well in the adoption field. But it's still a bull market, and it's still therefore likely that we get a strong correction out of this. It's much more likely, in my opinion, we get a V-shaped recovery than we actually do a real bear market, where once you found the low, it's another year actually of sideways movement, before you go back up. Like, I don't think that's so likely, but let's hope so. We will see. I have 50% of my portfolio invested in crypto, And the other argument in favor of this is that that I made many times before is that altcoins have not seen a boom yet, and that's also different from. Yeah, I think that's another strong argument why it's not likely that the bull cycle is finished for cryptocurrencies, because altcoins have not actually done their move yet, and I don't think. I mean, even if you see a slower adoption, even if you see that crypto is not growing as much as before, and even if you can say that, okay, retail did not invest as much at all in this cycle and in the previous cycle, okay, that can all be true. But then still, it's likely that altcoins will have most gains at the end of the cycle. It's just typical to any bull market is that the quality goes up first and then the crap goes up as well. And the crap outperforms the quality at the end of a bull market. That these things have not changed and we've not seen it, so that's another indicator that actually the bull cycle is likely not finished. Let me take a look at the comments. Yeah. Hi, Decentralized Dave. Nice to see you. Hi, Crypto Texty. I was worried because of the strikes in the United Arab Emirates. Oh, I did not get that news. By whom were they striked? I did hear that United States and Israel have struck Iran. But yeah, I think these global events are not so important for the crypto bull market as well as the stock bull market. I don't believe these kind of events actually define a bull market, the cycles of bull and bears. You've titled your show "What Comes Down Must Go Up." Reversion to the mean, yes. When the time comes, Decentralized Dave says, but not necessarily back to where it fell from. But not necessarily back to where it fell from. Where it fell from. Yeah, that's I don't understand. I would not trust you around kids, says Bourdieu fan. Why is that? I have many kids and they do trust me around them. I'm perceived as a pleasant and kind father, though strict at times also. You're talking about us not being in a bear market, says Decentralized Dave. I remember you saying that also in the middle of 2022. You recall strong corrections, but not the end of the bull market. That's what you recall, strong corrections, but not the end of the bull market. And that's what we had in 2025. Yes, so it's true, Decentralized Dave, that I was wrong in 2021. I never saw the bear market coming, and I continued to say during 2022 that we're in a bull market, and only at the end of that bear market I acknowledged that I was wrong and that actually we are in a bear market, and I missed the top. So that did happen to me, that's correct. But that did not happen to me in 2017 and in 2013. That I was one of the few that actually called the top, locked in profits, and warned people that they should lock in profits. And so yeah, I would say 2 out of 3 I had right, calling the top, but 1 I had wrong. So and the verdict is still out for this bull market in 2025. The verdict is still out, so I would say that I got 2 right of the 3, or only 1 wrong. Collins Wachira says, hi Mark. Hi Collins. CryptoTexty says, hey, great to see you are looking great and sound optimistic. Thank you so much, man. CryptoTexty is my dear friend who is in Ukraine, and I really hope that this war can end, and that we also had some interactions about this. I have indeed defended Russia more than Ukraine during this war. And I admit that I can be wrong. A lot of the things we see online is propaganda, and who's right, who's wrong, who's lying, who's telling the truth. It's difficult if you don't really study these things in depth to know. Um, but in any case, to end the war, you need to both decide to stop fighting. And Ukraine doesn't want to stop fighting. They want to get back the land they lost, and so yeah, I think they should not do that and instead accept their loss, and stop fighting. I really hope that can happen. You've just said you don't believe in 4-year cycles. Why is that, Mark? Says Decentralized Dave. Why would you bet against any cycle of any asset class? Because the 4-year cycle doesn't make sense. You can give some arguments against that I've long shared. The argument for the 4-year cycle is that that's the inflation pattern of Bitcoin, and you get a lot of new supply, or a lot of less new supply every 4 years as the inflation goes down every 4 years, and therefore that causes also bull bear cycles. But that doesn't hold. That doesn't make sense. That a bull bear cycle would be based on the inflation rate of Bitcoin. That doesn't work like that. Bull bear cycles are not dependent on how many. What's the inflation rate or the issuance rate of the asset? That's not the case in bond markets. It's not the case in real estate markets. It's not the case in stock markets. The issuance rate is a consequence of the bull bear market there, not a cause. What you see is that when the bull market is at its peak, the issuance rate is the highest. You will see the most new issuance of stocks or real estate. Most real estate will be built at the top of the bubble. That's how it works. Asset prices are pushed up by through psychology, by mass psychology. Mass hysteria is what causes bulls and bear markets, not issuance of the asset. So the same applies to cryptocurrency. And the cycles have been short, but there was a new asset class, a few participants. You get bull and bear markets follow up each other quickly. But as the asset class become bigger, more participants and higher market caps, of course that will slow down. That's a logical argument, and that will apply to cryptocurrency also. And cryptocurrency is part of the asset class of am I touched against the car? Of currencies. Cryptocurrencies are currencies. Currencies actually are the asset class of gold and silver, and so that's a currency, and fiat currencies. But fiat currencies don't have bull bear markets because they just go down. They are very weak offerings in the currency department. But gold is a very strong offering in the currency department, and clearly has bull and bear markets, and the cycles are very long. It's every 30 years that actually you see a 10-year bull market in gold on average. So I mean, cryptocurrencies are likely to attach to such long cycles over time, and get not 40-year cycles but 30-year cycles. That's most likely to happen in the future. And so we will slowly graduate to that, I believe. And so to say that we have the same, that it's likely that today the duration of the cycle is the same as 10 years ago when the asset class was valued 1,000 times less is not, I mean, that's not likely to be true. Crypto Taxi says, in general, I agree with your recent view on market. I was a bit skeptical about Zano, as the founders keep a big percentage for themselves. But I agree that Bitcoin Cash still holds potential. That's great to hear, CryptoTexT. Um, he was skeptical about Zano because the founders have a big percentage. Okay. Yeah, Bitcoin Cash has been doing very well during this bull market, and they have gone up in the ranking a lot from 30th spot to now 10th spot or so. So they did very well. And I've became more bullish for Bitcoin Cash, of course, typical, as I was very bearish on Bitcoin Cash, and I continue to sell down my position, but I've put a stop to that and actually increased my position a little bit again the past month. Just after the Epstein files were released, it became clear that actually Bitcoin was indeed hijacked. I mean, clear to me already a long time, but for the masses, it's not clear. But it may become more clear now. In the book from Roger Ver, Bitcoin got hijacked, is something that's slowly spreading, that insight, and it may accelerate. And Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin. I mean, that argument I believe to be true, but it's not recognized by the market. But if it is recognized by the market, it has a lot of upward potential still. It's 100 times cheaper, or 150 times cheaper than Bitcoin BTC, and it could actually become more valuable than Bitcoin BTC if the market acknowledges that Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin. Is that probable to happen? No, but if it happens, that would be quite the gain. So I still want to keep a position that does not cause me too much pain in missed opportunity if that does happen. And that's why I raised my exposure from 6% to 8% or so again recently. Decentralized Dave says, in 2025 we did have two strong bulls, first ending at inauguration and the second in October. This is how all other bull runs were concluded in 2021, 2017 and 2013. So Decentralized Dave says that we have two strong bull markets. Okay, I agree that there were two moves, but to say that these were strong bull markets, that's not true. If you look at the logarithmic chart, these were two weak bull markets, because they only reached fair value and not overvaluation. But okay, and of course what lacked also is that there was no altcoin season in any of those yet. So that's why I believe that that's not actually two strong bull markets, but the start of a bull market, more likely. If you might be interested in my views, says CryptoTaxi, that's about the war between Russia and Ukraine, we can have a call. Also, I hope soon I will be able to restore my podcast. Roger was right. Yes, Roger Ver certainly was right about Bitcoin being hijacked. And also I would like to remind people that Roger Ver has been a very early adopter, but also a legendary investor, because what he did was just hodl, and he was never talking about price or focused on price charts. He was always focused on building cryptocurrencies, and not just Bitcoin. He invests in many other cryptocurrencies and continues to do so to this day, and really helping these projects forward by investing in them, promoting them, and building them, and not trading in and out, not focused on trading or just price speculation or just price movements, but really focused on building. And that's what great entrepreneurs also do. When you study them, they tell their employees, please stop watching the value of your stock and build. And just hold your stock and be careful selling it, because it can go up a lot. Sell slowly. And Roger Ver has done that in the cryptocurrency world as one of the few, and he has benefited greatly from that approach. Just a reminder, because many of people that follow me are very focused on price and not on building. They don't really build cryptocurrency. They just speculate on the prices. And I am guilty of the same. I have invested in the Bitcoin Cash ecosystem a lot, but I also stopped with that. And these days I'm also only have cryptocurrencies themselves, invested in them. But I do want to remind people, as people are so bearish and they don't believe in crypto anymore, they think it's over and they should go invest elsewhere, that this has happened many times before, and it's extremely volatile asset class, and it will beat you down. And if you don't have strong hands, and then you will probably be shaken out. It has happened in every bull market, every bull cycle. And the way to overcome this is to really focus on building instead of just looking at the price. And that's what you can learn from Roger Ver as an investor and as an entrepreneur. Turbo Samuel says, you're going back and forth with BCH, but always ignoring the reason why BTC won, why markets want it, and this ignorance is making you poorer, yet you stubbornly continue. So this ignorance. Well, it's true that, of course, if I would just have hodled BTC, I would have done better than what I did was selling it and investing in other cryptos. I admit that. But does that mean that I did the wrong thing? I don't believe so, because BTC went up a lot in value despite its fundamentals weakening over time. And that can collapse, and then it may look very different, and then it may look like I did do the right thing by diversifying into other projects and really following fundamentals. You're not giving any argument why BTC won. You tell so that because the market wants it, but the market, if you believe that the market is the judge, then, well, why invest? I mean, then everything is priced right, because everything is priced by the market, and there is no edge. But that's not how it is. Like, as an investor, you can make a lot in the market, because the market is often wrong in how they price things. They sometimes really undervalue certain things, and sometimes they really overvalue other things, and that's how you can make money in the market. So I don't think that's a strong argument you're giving me here, that it's because the market priced it as such that that's what it is, that's what's right, and you're wrong. No. Would you say, says Decentralized Dave, that you are well prepared for the case that we are in the middle of a crypto bear market? I would say no, I'm not well prepared, because I have 50% allocation to cryptocurrencies, and if we're in the middle of a bear market, then we go a lot lower, and so that 50% position will lose half its value and will be reduced to maybe 25% or 20%, and so I have much more losses to come. However, it won't break the bank, in that I will have a lot less losses than in previous bear markets if that would happen, because I was then 90% exposed, or 80%, or 95%, and so I made a lot more losses there that I will not likely have here. And this is something that I am proud of, that over the past year, even though altcoins did very poorly, my portfolio did a lot better compared to what altcoins did. And that's because I've invested in other things and continue to do so, such as hedge funds that are long call options in Tesla that did quite well for me the past year, and some other hedge funds that are in small caps, so, and one that is in um, yeah, he's changing the portfolio a lot, so it's hard to say. It started as uranium, but now it's not uranium and it's other things. It was also oil services for a while. But okay, these two hedge funds of small caps and the other one is from HCUP, did not do so well. Actually, I did not make money with these funds yet, and I've been investing in them 2 years or so. But yeah, mm, my losses are quite limited because I invest in the right altcoins the past few years. Bitcoin Cash, I've always kept that, but I did sell it down. But yeah, it has done a lot better than the average altcoins. Same is true for privacy coins. I made money with Zcash. Monero did quite, I mean, not good, but not as bad as many altcoins. And so, yeah, my crypto portfolio did better than the average, even though I was never invested in BTC, which was the best performing asset. And even though I was invest in Ethereum and it's done poorly, still, because I had some wins there, I did quite okay. And so, yeah, I'm not feeling too bad about having a 50% exposure to cryptocurrency. For me, it makes a lot of sense, especially in altcoins, because cryptocurrency in general is seriously undervalued. But altcoins, they are not just seriously undervalued. They are historically undervalued. Only in 2016 they were as much undervalued as they are today. And also sentiment confirms that. It's really very depressing. Not for me. I picked a few right altcoin projects. I'm not depressed, but the market is. And that's an opportunity, I think. So yeah, 50% invest in that. I feel okay with that. But I admit, Decentralized Dave, that you could be right, that we are in a bear market. And I admit that the arguments are still strong if you look at the 4-year cycle. You've also pointed out well on your X channel that, yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. But even if it's like, if you say like, okay, benefit of doubt 50-50 here, and I admit that if you put the Kelly criterion, fill in the Kelly criterion, though we do differ actually in how we put in these. I think the Kelly criterion is very important calculation to judge whether you're over allocated or not. But yeah, in my opinion, if you fill in the probabilities correctly, yeah, Kelly does recommend a 40% to 50% allocation in cryptocurrency right now, but that's full Kelly. Half Kelly is half of that, but I do think that's justified. We differ in opinion there when we look at the probabilities, because yeah, it all depends on that, of course. But if you can have an educated opinion on that, I think that's already a lot, and I'm very happy I'm able to do that with you, Decentralized Dave, and that you really give me your own different opinion on these things. He says, yes, Mark, I am too relieved to see that you're not 80% or 90% invested in cryptocurrencies, but I still would love you not to lose your shirt again in this bear market. Please update your portfolio also on X. Yes, I will do that every month. At the end of the month, I share my portfolio, the Holy Grail portfolio on X, and so you can see my allocations then, and I will do that also this month. Turbo Samuel says BTC won because it is like gold. It's not about utility, and you don't respect that, says Turbo Samuel. Yes, I certainly do not respect that argument. BTC is not like gold. To say that is really out of touch with reality. How can you think? Have you ever held some gold in your hand? You should do that. It's a very different thing than BTC. It's not comparable. And none of the characteristics are comparable. It's sorry, but it's really not. It's just a stupid argument. Because everything that you say can just be debunked. For example, it's as rare as gold. No, that's not true. It's software. The issuance rate is set in code. Code can be changed. Can you change the issuance rate of gold? Can a coder change the issuance rate of gold? No. Gold truly is rare, but BTC is not. BTC is a software project. And there's so many arguments that just don't hold any water to compare BTC with gold. It's really out of touch with reality, and to believe such things may be very costly because they are falsehoods. Don't believe in falsehoods. I mean, at least recognize the true arguments and the true, if you're going to be investing in someone, see it for what it is. Don't start giving it characteristics that it doesn't have. That will be very costly in the long term. Decentralized Dave says, I know you're using the logarithmic regression a lot. If the market is wrong there, then sure, there is an opportunity. But you can also consider the value of crypto that is front-run a lot compared to its utility. I certainly acknowledge that. I mean, valuations in general of cryptocurrency at $2 trillion, do they offer this kind of value to the world? No. Like cryptocurrencies are valued almost as much as gold. But, I mean, around the world, I think still today gold offers more value than cryptocurrencies. But it's normal that a technology or a new discovery or a new region will go up in value. A new opportunity will go first up in value a lot before its utility is materialized. That's normal. And so there's nothing wrong. That's normal. That's also what the logarithmic regression shows. So I don't think that's an argument against current valuations. Hi Mark, says Amadeo Brands. Good to catch you live. Hi Amadeo. Do you still believe in Ethereum long term? Like we discussed in Amsterdam a long time ago, if Bitcoin Cash does not work, Ethereum seems the only hope. He also says, so yes, actually, Ethereum, I've been quite bullish on that this past cycle. Since the bottom in 2022, what I did was sell a lot of Bitcoin Cash, but not Ethereum. And that was the right call. I did lose 90%, even 93% of my net worth during that bear market because I did some very, very stupid moves, such as taking crypto loans, using that money to invest, to lever up, and also taking broker loans against my stocks. And and being fully invested, that really costed me a lot, and also invest a lot in puts on gold. That was also the wrong call. And so that's why I lost 93%. But during that liquidation, because these crypto loans cost for me to be liquidated and margin called often during that bear market, and so I chose to liquidate Bitcoin Cash for the most part, and that was the right call because Bitcoin Cash corrected a lot more in 2022 than Ethereum. Ethereum held up strong, and so from the beginning of this bull market in 2022 and 2023, I pointed out that actually Ethereum held very, very well its bottom prices, and I also made the argument then that's a very good sign and a bullish sign for Ethereum. But that did not prove right. Ethereum should have gone up strongly during this bull market. That didn't happen. What I missed was that Ethereum its fundamentals were weakening a lot, and others stole the show, such as Solana as the biggest one. And so Ethereum got competitors. I did point out that fundamentals were weakening, but I didn't take it into account enough in my portfolio. I didn't diversify into other DeFi platforms such as Solana, and that costed me a lot in missed opportunity. But I did share with my followers that Ethereum is making the wrong call to not scale Ethereum dramatically, and not to reduce transaction fees dramatically. There was a real problem previous bull markets, high transaction fees. How is that possible for a platform like Ethereum? You need to scale this very fast. They didn't, with the same stupid arguments that Bitcoin BTC did at the time, and I didn't get it. I shared the work of Justin Bonds around this a lot, and he was right, but he did invest in Solana and did make money off that, but I didn't. But now I did. Now I have finally also diversified into Solana. Solana has corrected a lot, but also some other projects, SUY, S-U-Y, and another call of Justin Bonds is Hype. I invest in these projects now also because, I acknowledge that Ethereum fucked up badly and continues to fuck up, actually. If you read the work of Justin Bonds, they make other design mistakes and cause basically the competition to really get a shot in taking them over. So I acknowledge that. But I'm still investing in Ethereum. Actually, that's still my biggest position in cryptocurrency. Is still Ethereum. It's not Bitcoin Cash. But now Solana also has my total exposure to Ethereum is maybe, I would say it's around 12%, and then after that I'm equally invested in Bitcoin Cash 8%, but also Solana 8%, and also Monero, and these are also big positions. Why do I still have the biggest exposure to Ethereum is because, the market is slow to catch on these things. I've learned that the hard way. Look at BTC. Or other things like Google today. Like Google today is flourishing, but clearly AI, is taking away its bread and butter. I used to use Google every day. Now I use AI every day, not Google. And so but the market is not seeing that. Market is pumping Google like never before. And so that's the market. The market is slow to catch on. The same happened with BTC, and my bet is the same will happen with Ethereum and Ethereum. But what I think has caused a very weak, well, not very weak, it did go into fair valuation and even overvaluation during this, in my opinion, first phase of the bull market. But it had a very strong correction in 2025 Ethereum, which was very bizarre because Bitcoin not, and altcoins in general not. Ethereum should have not had such a strong correction in early 2025 when it went from $4,000 to $1,500. How did that happen? And now I realize that's probably because whales exited Ethereum. And they probably did that because they saw that the fundamentals were weakening, and that was also the case. Like, what were they doing? Not scaling the main chain, and instead telling to others, you come, you scale it for us. Like other second layer scaling is so foolish, huh? Like, because not only do the transactions go there into the second layer, also the valuation goes there, and so many second layers pumped in value at the expense of Ethereum, and took the transactions as well as the value appreciation from Ethereum, huh? And so it's for good reason that these whales left, and that has caused just Ethereum to go up less, huh? It lost its momentum a bit. But does that mean it may not come back? No. I think markets are slow to catch on. If we get an altcoin season, which I still think is likely, Ethereum is most likely as one of the big coins to catch a bit first and go up first, and sentiment is so depressed, it's actually most likely to happen with Ethereum that it surprises to the upside badly, huh? And leaves so many people behind. That's what happens, huh? Even with projects that have weak fundamentals, you see it all the time. European stocks 1-2 years ago, oh my god, that was really bad, huh? I mean, for good, yeah, the stock market was doing so poorly, the German stock market, but the fundamentals were always so bad, literally destroying its industry, closing down its nuclear reactors, causing energy prices to just explode. Of course, I mean, the stock market tumbles through the floor. But uh, should you have invested then or not? Yes, you should. I didn't do that. I mean, that looked so bad for me. But even though fundamentals were very bad, that was the right time to invest, because the German stock market just like plus 40% in 2025, and that's how it goes. Huh? Even with when they are fucking up badly, if the price has also shown that, then actually that's a good time to invest. And I think that does apply to Ethereum. And of course, luckily, they also finally came to the realization that that was very foolish to not scale the first layer. And Vitalik Buterin finally saw the light. Congrats to him. And so now they're gonna focus on scaling the first layer Ethereum massively. Good for them. So I think it's a good time to invest in Ethereum and hold your position. And I think it really can surprise to the upside. And of course, the strongest argument for Ethereum is that, it has a network effect to its advantage. It's a leader in decentralized finance. It's a leader in real world assets. And that's very hard to lose. Same for Monero, leader in privacy coins, in adoption. And even if your technology is not as good, if you have the adoption, that's golden. Because it attracts more adoption. If you're like a company, you want to launch a real world asset, like a stock or a bond or some kind of something you want to sell on the blockchain. Where are you going to launch the asset? On the superior technology platform or on the platform that has most users? That's an easy choice. So it's the platform with the most users. And so that's what you really see with Ethereum. Even though technologically they are really lagging behind on something like Solana, who is much more, has scaled a lot more, much cheaper transactions, and has already some areas of dominance. When you want to launch your own coin called meme coins, like they will choose Solana to launch on, not. Okay, I have to enter the call, guys. Sorry about that. Time to pick up the kids. Thank you so much for joining, and I wish you all a great weekend, and good luck in the markets.